Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Conversations with Azu. Today's episode feels important and also a little uncomfortable because it's something I've been noticing more and more, not just in the world, but in myself too. And the question is this: why does it feel like everything is a performance? Performing in business, performing in relationships, performing on social media, even performing in our healing, in our growth, in our so-called authenticity. Somewhere along the way, we've started believing that who we are isn't quite enough on its own, that it needs to be shaped, refined, presented for it to be accepted. And today, I want to gently explore that with you. Not to judge it, but to understand it, and maybe to begin loosening its grip on us. So let's start here. What do I actually mean by performance? Because this isn't about being on a stage or speaking publicly. This is much more subtle than that. Performance is the version of you that you present to feel safe. It's the small adjustments you make in how you speak, how you show up, what you say yes to, and what you hold back from. It looks like saying yes when you really mean no, smiling when you want to express discomfort or otherwise, acting confident when inside you feel uncertain, sharing parts of your life that feel acceptable while hiding the parts that feel messy or inconvenient. In business, you see, it can look like speaking in a tone that doesn't even feel natural, using words that don't fully resonate, offering things because you think you should rather than because you feel aligned. Performance is essentially this: an edited version of yourself created for approval. I'm going to repeat that. Performance is essentially this: an edited version of yourself created for approval. And if you really sit with that, you might start to notice just how often you're living from that edited version. How did we get here? Now, here's the important part. This didn't just happen overnight. You didn't wake up one day and decide, I want to perform my way through life. You were conditioned into it. When we're children, we learn very quickly what gets us love and what does not. We're praised for being good, for being polite, for achieving, for behaving in certain ways. And even if it's subtle, we start to understand, if I am this, I am accepted. If I'm that, I'm not. So we begin to shape ourselves. Then we move into school, where conformity is rewarded, where fitting in often feels safer than standing out, where success is measured, not felt. And then we move into adulthood, workplaces that value productivity over presence, and society that values image over truth and reality. And now we've seen social media, a space where everything is visible, everything is shareable, everything is measurable, where likes, views, and validation become quite indicators of worth. And suddenly, you're not just living your life, you're curating it. So if you feel like you're always performing, please know this: you are not broken. You've been taught to live this way. Now, there is a cost of constant performance, but just because something is learned doesn't mean it's harmless, because performing comes at a cost, like everything. First, it's exhausting. Holding up a version of yourself all day, every day, thinking about how you're being perceived, filtering your thoughts before they even leave your mouth, that takes up a lot of energy. And secondly, it disconnects you from yourself. You stop asking, what do I feel? What do I need? And instead you start asking, what do they expect from me? What version of me will be accepted here? How do I need to show up for them today? And you see, over time, you can feel like you've lost touch with what's actually true for you. In relationships, if you're performing and they're performing, then who is actually being known? Who is actually being loved? And in business, you can build something that looks so successful, that looks aligned, but feels heavy because it's built on a version of you that isn't fully real. Can anyone relate? And here's the part that can feel the hardest and the saddest. When people respond well to your performance, when they like it, when they validate it, it becomes even harder to risk showing your truth. So let's talk about performance versus authenticity. Now, I gently want to explore something here because even authenticity has started to become a performance. Have a think about that. We've learned what authenticity is supposed to look like. We've learned how to sound vulnerable, how to share real moments, how to appear open and honest, but often it's still being filtered, still being shaped for how it will land. True authenticity is different. It's quieter, it's less polished, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. Performance asks us, how will this be received? Will they like this version of me? Authenticity asks, is this true for me? Am I honoring myself here? And authenticity doesn't always look beautiful. It looks like saying no. It looks like changing your mind. It looks like not explaining yourself over and over again. It looks like being misunderstood. And that's why it feels risky, because performance, well, it keeps you safe, but authenticity makes you visible. So let's have a gentle reflection here. I want to invite you just for a moment to reflect on your own life. Where might you be performing? In your business? Are you showing up in a way that truly feels like you, or in a way that you think will be accepted? In your relationships, are you fully expressing yourself, or are you filtering parts of who you are? Where do you feel like you're on instead of at ease? Where do you hold back your truth? And as you reflect on this, I want you to be very gentle with yourself. This is not about judgment. This is not about fixing anything overnight. This is simply about awareness, because awareness is where everything begins to shift. We don't just drop performance instantly, because performance was created to protect you. So instead of trying to remove it forcefully, we soften. We begin with small moments of honesty. Maybe it's pausing before you say yes and asking yourself, is this actually true for me? Maybe it's allowing one space in your life to be fully real. One relationship, one conversation, one part of your business where you don't need to perform. Maybe it's allowing yourself to feel the discomfort that comes with authenticity, because it will feel uncomfortable at first and it might feel unfamiliar, even unsafe. And slowly but surely you begin to redefine your worth, not based on how well you perform, not based on how well you're received, but based on something much deeper. The understanding that you don't earn your value by performing. You already have it. So I'll leave this with you today. You don't need to perform your way into belonging. You don't need to shape yourself to be worthy of connection or success or love. You already belong. And the more you return to yourself, the less you feel the need to convince the world of anything. Maybe this week, you don't try to be better. You don't try to be more impressive. You don't try to perfect anything. Maybe, just maybe, you try to be a little more honest with yourself first and then with the world around you. This is Conversations with Azu, the Vitality and More podcast. As always, come back to your heart, yourself, sending loads of love. Namaste.